So I've had a lot of questions and feedback about my privacy furniture. Many people were mentioning that they had similar issues with nosy neighbors. I always thought that I was the only one. One of the many things mentioned was the furniture is nice and all, but I think that it would be too involved and heavy of a project for us to tackle. So I thought a bit and came up with this flower box with a tall backing attached to it. This is for you. It might give you some more ideas and alternatives. This flower box is a simple design, lightweight, and I use minimal lumber to get the job done for this outdoor furniture. You're going to need to place larger heavy pots and flowers at the base. That way you add extra stability. You can also add smaller plants or flowers along the wall. The back will also serve to block out nosy neighbors like mine. If you have a wider area that needs privacy, you might have to build a few of these, or you can change the dimensions and make it wider. Okay, let's build this and you can grab some ideas of your own along the way. I started with two 2x2s. In my case, I had to rip them down on the table saw from 2x4s, but you're going to want to buy pressure-treated 2x2s. We'll measure out 6 feet on each 2x2x8 board, mark it, and use a speed square to strike a line. Speed squares are good to have at home. If you don't have one, they are inexpensive and can be had at any hardware store. You're going to have to cut these 2x2s with some type of saw. I'm using a jigsaw and the speed square to keep my cut straight. You can buy a jigsaw for under $30 and they too are great to have in your toolbox. I'll leave a link to all the tools I use down in the description. Be sure to check them out. Now I have two 2x2s at 6 feet in length and the leftover sections too. We're going to use all of it. Here are some fence boards. These are pressure treated for outside use. An 8-foot board will run you about $2. We're marking these and are going to cut them to size. These boards will become the left and right side of the flower box. You'll see. We'll cut the boards to 14 inches and these will become the sides of the bottom box. Let's move on. Now we'll take the 6-foot 2x2 and measure so we can attach it to the 14-inch sideboard we just cut. We want this flower box to sit off the ground, so we will attach the two parts with about 2.5 inches protruding. You'll see now. I line the 14-inch sideboard up with the 2x2 post and use a drill bit to make a hole. We don't really want to screw straight into the wood. Pre-drilling will reduce the chance of these boards splitting, which can happen very easy. So this is one side. Not difficult at all. We need two of these 6-foot 2x2s and 14-inch boards to create the box. Here's the same procedure on the second side. By the way, the post will be on the inside of the box, so keep that in mind so you don't end up with two left shoes. The front legs of this box will be cut down to 9.5 inches. I'm pre-drilling as we did before for the 6-foot 2x2s. Now we have one side finished. Here are the front post legs cut down to 9.5 inches. I got ahead of myself earlier and attached the uncut piece. Not a big deal. Same as before, we pre-drill and screw the legs to the boards. Here's a look at the two sides. You can see where we're going with this. Let's move on. We need to cut the front and back sections of the flower box. We're cutting these fence boards down to 30 inches. Now we'll attach the front boards to the sides. Always pre-drill, then screw. Well, she's standing and it's all coming along. Take a look at how it's built so you get some ideas. Now we'll cut the boards that make up the back and privacy. These are going to be 30 inches long. In my case, I'm attaching them with brad nails. You may want to use screws for your build. We're going to need a bottom to this box, so I cut out two strips of 2x2s at 28 and 3/4 inch in length. Attach them like I've done here. This will support boards that we will be placing. That way your flower pot has a seat to sit in. I cut out 3 fence boards at 13 and 3/4 inches long. Again, I'm using brad nails, but you might want to use screws. I built this project for you folks that had asked me for alternatives to my privacy patio. There were many great suggestions and ideas, so I wanted to give back and create a simple solution. This is relatively lightweight with a heavy flower pot at the base. It should add extra stability too. You can also add smaller plants and flowers on the back. I used minimal materials I had on hand, but you can modify this project with your own ideas. I hope this helps. This is Eloy. Catch you next time. Oh, and please subscribe.